What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, me and my old man in a movie, and today I'm going to be ranking the 2025 blockbuster movies by how much I think they're going to make at the box office this year. And we have this tier list, and it goes from $1 billion or more all the way down to 0, and you can see kind of the tiers and how much money that they're going to make. And so we're going to take these big 2025 titles and rank them according to what I think they're going to make at the box office. There's great potential this year, so let's get into it. Alright, so up first we have 28 Years Later, which is a film that is a sequel to 28 Weeks Later, and it's a long-awaited sequel. The other two haven't come out they came out a long time ago, and I looked back and neither of them made over $100 million, but obviously, money back then and money now are a lot different, so it's probably going to make a lot more. I'm going to still say this probably doesn't quite make it to 200 million. I'm going to say probably between 0 and 999 million. I could see this thing probably doing about 150 million or 180 million. I think it gets really close to 200 million, but I don't think it quite gets there. So coming in next, we have Fantastic Four, which is my most anticipated film of 2025. I love the Fantastic Four. I can't wait to see their story adapted into the MCU. It's got a great cast. The only problem, I think, with this film is a lot of the Fantastic Four movies that came before it are not good films, at least not very well accepted films. Probably a bad taste in people's mouths for Fantastic Four, so I don't know how well this is really going to do. It's gonna completely depend on whether or not it's good. It's also going to depend on whether or not RDJ is in it, Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Doctor Doom. If that's in the trailer and they just drop that in the trailer, like right at the end of the trailer to get people excited, I think this thing could definitely do upwards of like 800 million. But I think to play it safe here, I think we're gonna go 800 to 999 million. I think this is going to be the biggest MCU film of the year for sure. But it would not surprise me if it's really good and it shows RDJ as Doom. It would not surprise me if it made $1 billion. Alright, coming up next we have Megan 2.0. This is a sequel to the 2022 Megan horror film. It's an AI doll that goes rogue, and it's one of my favorite horror movie or AI movies. It's so unique, and it's just a really good film. And so the sequel of that, obviously the first one was fueled by the famous TikTok dance that Megan does in the film. And so, if this one can kind of have that same virality, I guess, to it, then, maybe it could be as successful. The first one made about $180 million at the box office, so I kind of want to put it at the bottom tier, but I think that this film I trust Blumhouse to do this film justice, so I'm going to put it in the $200 to $399 million range. I think this thing could do probably about 220, 250 is kind of its ceiling. Next, we have Bad Guys 2. This is an animated film based off of the book series, The Bad Guys, and I have read all the books, and the first one, I believe, made like $300 million, so they make solid money, so I think I'm going to put this right in with Megan. I'm going to put it I'm going to put it ahead of Megan. I think it's going to do better than Megan, but I still think it's going to be in that range. Alright, next we have Wicked for Good. This is going to be a box office behemoth. This thing is going to be huge. The first Wicked, that still has not finished its theatrical run, is on pace to do about $700 million by the end. So, with the first one already doing that, people are going to be able to watch this all year long and see how great of a film it is, and they're going to want to go watch the sequel, so I would not be surprised. It's also coming out the weekend before Thanksgiving, so it's going to have a great theatrical run. I'm going to put this right here, 600 to 799 million. I think this thing is probably going to do about 750 to 780 million is where I'm thinking this. it could definitely crack 800 million and maybe even go even higher than that, but I'm going to play it safe and put it between 600 and 799 million. Next, we have Lilo and Stitch. Now, this is a live-action film based off of the very popular Lilo and Stitch franchise, and there are a lot of Stitch superfans that are going to show up for this film. If it's really good and a lot of the people who are big Lilo and Stitch fans like the film and it can kind of catch on, it would not surprise me if this thing made upwards of $700 million. Like, this thing is going to be huge. It's in May. It's going to be a big movie. So I'm going to put this up with, I'm going to put it behind Wicked. I don't think it's going to make as much as Wicked, but I do think it's going to be huge. And I think it has a lot of potential to go even higher. Alright, next up we have Tron Ares. Now, the first one, Tron Legacy, I believe about 400 million is what it made. So I'm going to put it right there. 400 to 599 million is exactly where I think it's going to be. It's got a good chance. It could do more, maybe like, 500, 550 million, or it could do less. It could be around what I think The Bad Guys 2 is probably going to make, which is like $350 million. So it kind of just depends, again, whether or not it's good. I mean, that's what a lot of these films come down to. Is like, is it good, right? So next we have Mickey 17. I'm actually really excited about this one. The trailer looked really fun, but this movie, I don't see it being a box office hit. I think it has the potential to be, but I don't think it will. I'm going to put it behind 28 Years Later. I'm going to put it right there behind 28 Years Later. Alright, next we have The Conjuring Last Rites. This is the fourth Conjuring movie, and it's a part of the big Conjuring universe, horror universe, with the Annabelle movies, the Nun movies, but they make a lot of money, especially for R-rated horror films. They do make bank. So I'm going to probably say this one's going to be ahead of Bad Guys, and I'm going to put it ahead of the Bad Guys right there at the front of 200 to 399. I think this one's probably going to do about 350 to 360 million, somewhere around there. Alright, next up we have The Black Phone. Now, this is a film that is coming out in October. It's another Blumhouse sequel, and the first film, I loved the first film. I thought it was so well done. It was very scary, and it definitely worked. So I think if the second one can do as well as the first one in terms of like, is it as good? I think that it can do just as good as the first one did at the box office, which is about 100 and I believe 160 million worldwide. So I don't know if I see it doing as well as Megan. I'm going to put it at the very top of 0 to 199 million. I think that it can definitely, I think it can get close to 200 million. That one's tough. It might be able to break 200. Alright, next up we have Karate Kid Legends. Now, the Karate Kid film that came out in 2010 ended up making around 400 million, so that's kind of where I see this one. The Cobra Kai series is very popular, so I could see this one. I'm going to put this at the very top of 200 to 399 million, because I think that it could definitely get to about 390 million, or it could do 400. I think it's a toss-up. I really do. So, next, How to Train Your Dragon live action. This one is going to do very well. The How to Train Your Dragon films, historically, the first three animated films do very well, with the most successful one being the second one that made like $621 million at the box office. So I could see this one definitely doing like Lilo and Stitch numbers. I'm going to put it ahead of Lilo and Stitch. I think it's going to do better than Lilo and Stitch. I think it could do about 700 million is kind of where I see it. Similar to Lilo and Stitch, similar to Wicked. So it's going to kind of go between those two. Alright, next up, Ballerina. This is a spin-off to the John Wick movies, and it has Ana de Armas in it. She's very popular, and so I think this one could do very well. The John Wick movies historically do pretty well at the box office for R-rated films, and so I think this one's probably going to be... I don't think this one's going to do quite as well as the John Wick movies, because it is a spin-off, and historically spin-offs don't do as well. So I'm going to put it between Karate Kid and Conjuring. I think this thing is probably going to do around 370 million. Yeah, I mean, I just think the films in the second tier, this second tier up, they're just like real smushed together. They're really close. They could be in any order, really, and probably still be a good chance by the end of the year. So next we have Snow White. Now, this is a film that probably 5 years ago I would have immediately put in the billion-dollar club because it is a Disney live-action remake, but lately Disney live-action remakes have not been doing so hot, with Little Mermaid not being able to break, I think it broke 500, it may have broken 500 million, but it got really close to not breaking 500 million, and then Mufasa the Lion King, it's doing well, but it's not doing what Disney live-action remakes did, 5 years ago. And with the controversy surrounding this film, because there's a lot of controversy with this film, I have a hard time believing that this thing is going to do well at all. So with those two things in mind, I'm going to put this thing probably behind The Conjuring. I'm going to put it behind The Conjuring. I think this thing is probably going to do like $360 million is kind of where I'm seeing this thing. I just can't put it higher. There's just too much controversy, and Disney live action remakes just don't make as much money as they used to. So I'm going to put it pretty low. And then we have one that is an obvious billion-dollar film. Honestly, 2 billion is probably more like it. Avatar, Fire and Ash, Avatar 3. Instant $1 billion, probably $2 billion. This is easily going to be the biggest film of the year, without a doubt. There's no doubt this is going to be the biggest film of the year. So not much more to say on that. Next we have the Minecraft movie, which I know a lot of people are probably going to be surprised, but I'm going to put this at $1 billion. I think this is just an instant billion. The Minecraft name and the IP is just too massive worldwide to put this anywhere below $1 billion. I think because it's like not just here in America is Minecraft one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game of all time. It's globally the biggest game of all time. And so this is going to be just a worldwide phenomenon, and I guarantee you, no matter how bad the movie is, because I know some people are like, the trailer looked bad. I didn't think the trailer looked terrible. I didn't think it looked great, but I thought the second Minecraft trailer looked a little bit better than the first one. But I don't care how bad the movie is, it's going to make $1 billion just because it has the Minecraft name. I mean, if you just look at Super Mario Bros., a movie that's not amazing, but still ended up making like $1.3 billion. So, yeah, it's just going to make $1 billion because of the name. Next, Jurassic World Rebirth. We're on a roll. We have $3 billion films in a row. I'm going to put Jurassic World Rebirth, I'm going to put it ahead of Minecraft because I think it's going to do better than Minecraft. The 3 Jurassic World films that have come out so far have made $1 billion, even the ones that aren't good, like Jurassic World Dominion, the last one, was not critically acclaimed and is, seen by many as a very bad film, and it still made $1 billion. So this one, with it being, a new cast, Jurassic World Rebirth, more dinosaurs, it's the Dinosaurs franchise, people are going to show up at the theater, this is going to make $1 billion easily. Alright, next we have Captain America Brave New World. This one's a bit hard to see where it's going to go because I feel like this one could do like $600-700 million, but at the same time, different Captain America. There's been a lot of reshoots. I just think a lot of people may not go to see this one. I'm going to put this one in front of Tron Legacy. I think I could see this one making about $550 million is kind of where I see it. It could go higher, but I think this is just a conservative number. Alright, next we have Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, the first Five Nights at Freddy's almost made $300 million, but the important thing to note about that film is that it had a day-and-date release with Peacock, where it released on Peacock the same day it released in theaters, and so a lot of people who may have been on the edge about going to, maybe let's go see Five Nights at Freddy's, were then probably watched it at home because they could, for a lot cheaper. So, with this one not being a day-and-date release with Peacock and just being exclusively in theaters, you're going to get a lot more people going to see it in theaters. But the novelty of Five Nights at Freddy's, a lot of the, it had a huge opening because all the Five Nights at Freddy's fans, which I'm one of them, went and saw the film early, and I will be seeing this film with a lot of my friends. It's gonna be really good. I hope it's good. I hope it's really good. But I think that for most people, I think the novelty of seeing Five Nights at Freddy's on the big screen is done a little bit, and so I don't know if this one's gonna have the same, like same scale as the last one. So I'm going to probably put this I'm going to put it behind, I'm going to put it behind Megan. I'm going to say it makes like $250 million is kind of where I see it. All right. Next we have Superman, and this one is tough too because it's the first DC film under James Gunn's leadership, and so I think that there's a lot of people that are super excited for this and super hyped, but I also think that there's a lot of people who are just kind of over DC at this point because of the films DC has made over the last decade. So I don't know if people are going to want to go see another Superman movie. I think the diehards will go. I don't know if the casual fans will go. If it's really good and can capture the zeitgeist, I think that it can probably do, I'm going to say, behind Fantastic Four. I think this thing could do about $800 to $850 million, but at the same time, it could very well make $1 billion if it's really good and it can, get a good Rotten Tomatoes score, get good word of mouth. The hype can build up. I think it might be able to do $1 billion, but I'm going to play it safe and put it about $850 million or so. Next up, we have Elio, which is Pixar's new film coming out in June. With Inside Out 2 breaking all of these box office records from Pixar, I think Pixar's earned a lot of trust back from audiences, but I also think there's still a little bit of distrust from the audience because Pixar has not been doing up to par with what Pixar usually does, and their original films haven't been doing that great at the box office. So this one's tough. I'm gonna put this one behind Tron. I'm gonna put it ahead of Tron. I'll put it ahead of Tron and behind Captain America. I think this film probably makes like $470 million, maybe 500 if it's lucky. That's around what Elemental made. So I think it probably makes similar to what Elemental made. Maybe a little bit more. Alright, next we have Zootopia 2, which is Disney. Obviously, it's the first Zootopia made $1 billion. So this one's obviously on the radar to make $1 billion. And I'm going to put this one, I'm going to say it makes $1 billion. I'm going to say it goes behind Minecraft. I'm going to say it just kind of barely scrapes $1 billion. I think that's probably a good placing for it. Alright, next we have the Michael Jackson biopic, Michael. This one's probably the toughest one to peg because Michael Jackson is one of the biggest, pop singers in the whole world, like, ever. So, and his global appeal, I think there's a good chance it makes $1 billion, but I also think he had a lot of controversy in his life, and so I don't know if that's gonna do anything for people. I don't know. So it could make 200 million or it could make $1 billion. So I'm gonna put this one. What was that? I'm gonna put it behind. I'm gonna put it at the top of 600 to 799. I'm gonna put it ahead of Wicked. I think it could do 750, maybe even 800 million. It's gonna be close to that. All right, next we have Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Now, Mission Impossible Fallout, which came out in 2018, did about 730 million, but the last Mission Impossible only made a little over 500 million. So I think with this being marketed as the final Mission Impossible, that it could do very well. I'm gonna put it probably like, I'll put it ahead of Elio, behind Captain America. I think it could make maybe like 550, maybe $600 million. Similar to Captain America. Alright, and last but not least, we have Thunderbolts, which is an MCU film kicking off the summer movie season, very beginning of May. That is a very good slot for Marvel movies of late. And so I think it's going to do very well at the box office. It looks like a fun breath of fresh air for the MCU. So I think people are going to show up for this. I think it's going to do better than Captain America. I'm gonna put it behind Lilo and Stitch, and I'm gonna say it probably makes like 620 to $630 million. So that is it. If you guys agree with this tier list, comment down below that you agree with it, or if you would change something about it, go ahead and comment that down below too. And make sure you subscribe and hit the like button, subscribe, so you stay up to date on all of our reviews. Me and my dad are going to review all of these movies and all of our trailer reactions and stuff. So if that's your thing, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.